The flatline scream cuts through the hallway like a knife. Sarah Chen stops mid-step, her hand frozen on the supply cart handle. Through the observation window of Trauma Bay 4, she sees them. A man on the table, chest bare and bloody. A nurse doing compressions, shoulders hunched, using her arms instead of her body weight. Wrong technique. The doctor at the head of the bed is shouting orders, but his voice cracks with panic. Sarah's fingers drift toward the door handle. Not your job. Not anymore. She turns away. The cart wheels squeak as she pushes it down the corridor. Behind her, the flatline wail fades to nothing. Later, at 2:18 p.m., Dr. Marcus Reed finds her restocking supplies on the third floor. He's holding a tablet, grinning like he just won something. Hey, Chen, that guy from this morning, the code. Sarah doesn't look up from the boxes of intubation equipment. Got him back. 3 shocks, but we stabilized him. Reed taps the screen with one finger. Not bad for a Tuesday, right? Sarah sets down a packaged airway kit. Her voice comes out quiet, almost flat. You did compressions for 40 seconds before the first shock. Reed blinks. What? Protocol is 2 minutes. Full cycles. AHA guidelines. She pauses, meeting his eyes for the first time. You shocked early. You got lucky. The grin slides off his face. He glances at her badge, the laminated ID clipped to her chest pocket. The photo is 5 years old. The certification date reads 2018. Right. He laughs short and sharp. Thanks for the expert input, Chen. He points at the badge. You still rocking a 2018 logistics cert? That's practically fossilized. Maybe stick to counting boxes. Yeah. He walks away, shaking his head. Sarah's hands don't shake. She goes back to restocking. At 4:47 p.m., the overhead speaker crackles to life. Incoming pediatric respiratory arrest. ETA 3 minutes. All available personnel to Trauma Bay 2. The ER transforms. Nurses scatter to their positions. Someone wheels a crash cart at a dead run. The air fills with the sharp chemical smell of sterile packaging being torn open. Sarah is in the hallway when the sirens hit. The ambulance doors slam open. 2 paramedics rush through a gurney between them. On it, a boy, maybe 8 years old. His lips are blue. He's not moving. Asthma attack at school, the lead paramedic shouts. We've been bagging him for 6 minutes. No response to albuterol. SATs dropping. They transfer him to the table in Bay 2. Reed snaps on gloves, positions himself at the head of the bed. Get me an airway kit. Someone start compressions. A nurse begins chest compressions, small, controlled pushes on the boy's sternum. Reed grabs the laryngoscope, inserts it into the boy's mouth. His hands are tense, jerky. I can't see the cords. He repositions. Tries again. Come on. The monitor beeps. A nurse calls out, SATs at 65. I know, Reed snaps. He pulls the scope out. His hands are shaking now. I got it. I got it. The boy's lips are darker, almost gray. SATs at 62. Sarah appears in the doorway. She watches for exactly 3 seconds. Then she moves. Step back. Reed looks up. What? Step back. Her voice is ice. No room for argument. Now. Something in her eyes makes him hesitate. Then he steps back. Sarah takes the laryngoscope from his hand. Her movements are smooth, automatic. Stop compressions. The nurse stops. Sarah tilts the boy's head back, lifts his jaw with 2 fingers, inserts the scope in one fluid motion. She sees the vocal cords immediately. Tube. A nurse hands it to her without hesitation. Sarah slides the endotracheal tube through the cords. Advances, it inflates. The cuff removes the scope. Bag him. The nurse attaches the bag valve mask. Squeezes. The boy's chest rises. Another squeeze. Another rise. The monitor beeps. SATs at 72. Keep bagging. 80. 88. The boy coughs. A weak sound but real. His eyes flutter. 94. 96. Sarah steps back, strips off the gloves, drops them in the biohazard bin. The room is dead silent. Everyone is staring at her. Reed's voice comes out barely above a whisper. "Who the hell are you?" Sarah wipes her hands on her scrubs. "Supply staff." She walks out. That evening, Ira sits in her car in the employee parking lot. Engine off. Windows cracked. The hospital glows white and cold behind her in the darkness. She opens the glove compartment. Inside is a black leather case, worn at the edges. She opens it. A bronze star medal. The ribbon is faded under the dome light. Engraved on the back, CPTS. Chen OIF, 2015 to 2019. She stares at it for a long moment, then closes the case, shuts the glove compartment, starts the car, drives home. Before we dive into what happens next, I would love to know where you are watching from. Drop your city or country in the comments. The call comes at 6:14 in the morning. Sarah is already awake. She always is. Sleep comes in fragments now, 2 or 3 hours at a time, and she has learned not to fight it. Her phone vibrates on the nightstand. She picks it up on the second ring. "Chen, we need you in early." The voice belongs to Linda, the shift coordinator. "Mass casualty drill, all available staff. I'll be there in 20. She hangs up, swings her legs out of bed, pulls on her scrubs in the dark. Ties her hair back without looking in the mirror. By 6:40, she is walking through the employee entrance. The ER is already transforming. Gurneys line up in rows. Triage kits lie open on trays. Actors in street clothes sit still while volunteers apply fake blood to their arms and faces. Someone hands out colored tags. Red for critical. Yellow for urgent. Green for stable. Emma stops at the staging area. A nurse waves her over. "We need triage bins set up in the ambulance bay. Can you handle that?" "Yes." Sarah grabs 2 large plastic bins from the storage closet and carries them outside. The morning air is cool and damp. The sun has not cleared the horizon yet. She sets the bins down, opens the lids, checks the inventory. Tourniquets, hemostatic gauze, chest seals, nasopharyngeal airways. Everything is there. She closes the lids and steps back. The drill begins at 7:00. Sirens wail in the distance. Fake, but loud. The first wave of actors comes through the doors on stretchers shouting, clutching fake wounds. A nurse runs past Sarah. "I need a crit kit." Sarah reaches into the bin without looking, pulls one out, hands it over. The nurse grabs it and keeps running. No thank you. No eye contact. Sarah stands by the bins and waits. At 8:42, one of the actors collapses. Not part of the script. He is near the nurse's station, doubled over, hand pressed to his chest. His face is pale, lips slightly blue. Someone screams. He's not acting. The ER freezes. "Dr. Catherine Walsh." The attending rushes over. She is in her 50s, with 20 years of emergency medicine behind her. She kneels beside the man. "Someone get me an AED." A nurse sprints toward the equipment room. Sarah is 10 feet away, watching. The man is gasping. Short, shallow breaths. His hand falls away from his chest. Walsh checks his pulse. "It's weak. Somebody." Sarah moves. She does not think, just moves. She drops to her knees beside Walsh. Her hands go to the man's chest. She rips open his shirt. 2 fingers on the sternum. She finds the landmark. "Move," she says. Walsh looks at her. "What?" "Move." Her voice is flat. Final. Walsh moves. Sarah locks her shoulders, straightens her elbows, begins compressions. Hard. Fast. Precise. 100 per minute. Her body remembers. Muscle memory older than thought. The AED arrives. She does not stop. "Pads," she says. A nurse slaps the adhesive pads onto the man's chest. Sarah keeps compressing. "Analyzing," the machine announces. Sarah pulls back, hands hovering. "Shock advised." She presses the button. The man's body jerks. His back arches off the floor. Sarah checks his pulse. Nothing. She resumes compressions immediately. 30 compressions. 2 breaths from the nurse with the bag valve mask. Another cycle. Shock advised. She delivers it. Checks again. Still nothing. 3rd cycle. 3rd shock. This time the pulse returns. Faint, but there. The man gasps. His eyes flutter open. Sarah sits back on her heels. Her hands are steady. Walsh is staring at her. "Where the hell did you learn that and?" Sarah stands. Wipes her palms on her scrubs. CPR certification. She walks away before anyone can ask anything else. At lunch, Sarah sits in her car. Window cracked. Radio off. Engine cold. She holds a protein bar but does not unwrap it. Her hands are shaking now. She closes her eyes. Sand. Heat. The taste of dust in her mouth. A Humvee on its side. Smoke pouring from the engine. Someone screaming inside. She is pulling him out. His leg is gone below the knee. Blood everywhere. Soaking into the sand, into her gloves, her uniform. Her hands are red. "Stay with me," she is saying. "Stay with me." He is looking at her. Eyes wide. Pupils blown. "Doc." He does not. Sarah opens her eyes. The protein bar is crushed in her hand. She throws it out the window. Starts the car. Drives back inside. That afternoon, she is restocking suture kits in the supply room when someone knocks on the doorframe. She turns. Dr. Walsh stands there holding a cup of coffee. "Hey," she says. Sarah waits. "That thing this morning." Walsh pauses. "You were really good." Sarah nods once. "Where did you train?" Walsh asks. "Around." Walsh frowns. "That's not an answer." "It's the one I have." Walsh studies her for a long moment. Her eyes are sharp, the way they get when she is working through a diagnosis. "You're wasted in supply. You know that, right?" Sarah turns back to the shelves. "I'm fine where I am." "Are you?" Sarah does not answer. Walsh lingers in the doorway for another few seconds. Then she leaves. Sarah exhales slowly. Her hands are not shaking anymore. She goes back to counting sutures, organizing shelves, doing the work no one sees. Later, she passes a group of nurses near the break room. One of them glances at her, whispers something to the others. Sarah keeps walking. She has heard the whispers before. She will hear them again. It does not matter. She is good at being invisible. She has had years of practice. By the end of the day, the whispers have spread. At the nurses' station, 2 nurses are talking in low voices. "Did you see what she did?" "I know. It was insane." Reed said she moved like she'd done it 1,000 times. "Who is she?" "I don't know, but she's definitely not just supply staff." Sarah walks past them. They stop talking. She does not look at them. She has learned not to. The next morning, Sarah arrives at 6:45. Same time as always. Same faded scrubs. Same worn badge. But something has shifted. A nurse nods as she passes. "Morning." Sarah stops, blinks. The nurse smiles and keeps walking. Sarah stands there for a moment, then continues toward the supply room. Dr. Reed is waiting outside the door. He looks uncomfortable, hands in his pockets, eyes not quite meeting hers. "Hey," he says. Sarah unlocks the door. "Hey." He scratches the back of his neck. "I've been thinking. About yesterday. About what you did." Sarah pushes the door open, sets her bag down inside. "I wanted to say I'm sorry," Reed says. She stops, looks at him. "For what?" "For being a dick." He exhales. "I didn't know who you were. But that's not an excuse. You were good at your job, and I treated you like you were nobody." Sarah nods slowly. "You did." He winces. "Yeah, I know." He pauses. "I thought credentials mattered more than skill. I was wrong." Sarah picks up her clipboard. "Apology accepted." Reed looks relieved. "Thanks." He starts to leave, then stops. For what it's worth, I learned more from watching you work one day than I did in 2 years of residency. Sarah does not respond. Reed leaves. She stands alone in the supply room, surrounded by boxes and shelves and the smell of disinfectant. She thinks about the boy with the blue lips, the way his chest rose when she got the tube in. She thinks about all the others, the ones she saved, the ones she did not. She closes the door and goes back to work. At 3:00 p.m., Walsh finds her again. This time she does not knock, just walks into the supply room and closes the door behind her. "We need to talk," Walsh says. Sarah is counting IV bags. About what you did yesterday. Pediatric intubation in under 30 seconds. High-stress scenario. No hesitation. Walsh steps closer. "That's not something you learn in a CPR class, Chen. That's advanced airway management. That's years of training." Sarah does not respond. "I want you to tell me where you trained," Walsh says. "I already did. Around." "That's not good enough." Sarah sets down the clipboard, turns to face her, arms crossed. "It's going to have to be." Walsh stares at her. She has been practicing emergency medicine for 20 years. She knows when someone is hiding something. "You're not just supply staff," Walsh says quietly. "Yes, I am." "No, you're not." Walsh pauses. "And I don't know why you're pretending to be." Sarah holds her gaze. "Are we done?" Walsh exhales. "For now." She opens the door, stops, looks back at her. "That kid is alive because of you. You know that, right?" Sarah does not answer. Walsh leaves. Sarah stands alone in the supply closet, surrounded by boxes and shelves and the smell of disinfectant. She thinks about the boy, about his gray lips turning pink, about the way his chest rose when the air finally got through. She thinks about all the faces she tried to forget. She closes the closet door and goes back to work. By evening, the rumors are everywhere. In the cafeteria, at the nurse's station, in the locker room. "I heard she was in the military." Special forces, maybe. Not special forces. Combat medic. Then why is she working in supply? Something happened. People don't just walk away from that. Maybe she got discharged. Or maybe she's hiding. No one has answers, but everyone is asking questions now. And Sarah knows that once the questions start, they do not stop. That night, she sits in her apartment. Lights off. Window cracked. The city hums outside. She thinks about the man this morning, the one whose heart stopped. The way his pulse came back under her hands. She thinks about the boy yesterday, his small chest rising when the air finally got through. She thinks about all the others, the ones in the sand and the dust and the smoke, the ones she pulled from wreckage, the ones she held while they died. Her phone buzzes. Unknown number. She does not check it, just sets the phone face down on the table and sits in the dark, waiting for tomorrow, knowing it will be different now. The call comes at 6:14 in the morning. Sarah is already awake. She always is. Sleep comes in fragments now, 2 or 3 hours at a time, and she has learned not to fight it. Her phone vibrates on the nightstand. She picks it up on the second ring. "Chen, we need you in early." The voice belongs to Linda, the shift coordinator. "Mass casualty drill, all available staff. I'll be there in 20. She hangs up, swings her legs out of bed, pulls on her scrubs in the dark, ties her hair back without looking in the mirror. By 6:40, she is walking through the employee entrance. The ER is already transforming. Gurneys line up in rows. Triage kits lie open on trays. Actors in street clothes sit still while volunteers apply fake blood to their arms and faces. Someone hands out colored tags. Red for critical, yellow for urgent, green for stable. Sarah stops at the staging area. A nurse waves her over. "We need triage bins set up in the ambulance bay. Can you handle that?" "Yes." Sarah grabs 2 large plastic bins from the storage closet and carries them outside. The morning air is cool and damp. The sun has not cleared the horizon yet. She sets the bins down, opens the lids, checks the inventory. Tourniquets, hemostatic gauze, chest seals, nasopharyngeal airways. Everything is there. Her hands move through the supplies with practiced efficiency. She does not need to look at the labels. Her fingers know the shape of each item, the weight, the texture. Muscle memory from another life. She closes the lids and steps back. The drill begins at 7-ish. Sirens wail in the distance, fake but loud. The first wave of actors comes through the doors on stretchers, shouting, clutching fake wounds. The ER erupts into controlled chaos. Nurses run between bays. Residents call out vital signs. Someone wheels a crash cart past Sarah at full speed. A nurse runs past her. "I need a crit kit." Sarah reaches into the bin without looking, pulls one out, hands it over. The nurse grabs it and keeps running. No thank you. No eye contact. Sarah stands by the bins and waits. She watches the organized chaos unfold, watches the residents fumble with equipment, watches the nurses compensate for their inexperience, watches Dr. Walsh coordinate from the center of the floor, her voice calm and authoritative. The drill continues for 40 minutes. Actors are triaged, treated, moved to different bays. The staff works through scenario after scenario. Building collapse, multi-vehicle accident, industrial explosion. Sarah recognizes the patterns, the protocols, the same ones she learned in a different context. In places where the blood was real and the screaming did not stop when someone yelled cut. At 8:42, one of the actors collapses. Not part of the script. He is near the nurse's station, doubled over, hand pressed to his chest. His face is pale, lips slightly blue. His breathing comes in short, desperate gasps. Someone screams, "He's not acting!" The ER freezes. For a split second, everyone stops. The drill momentum breaks like glass. Dr. Catherine Walsh, the attending, rushes over. She is in her 50s, with 20 years of emergency medicine behind her. She kneels beside the man, her movements quick and efficient. "Someone get me an AED." A nurse sprints toward the equipment room. Sarah is 10 feet away, watching. The man is gasping, short, shallow breaths. His hand falls away from his chest. His eyes are wide, panicked, the kind of panic that comes when your body stops doing what it is supposed to do, when the automatic process of breathing becomes impossible. Walsh checks his pulse. Her fingers press against his carotid. It's weak. Somebody... Sarah moves. She does not think, just moves. She drops to her knees beside Walsh. Her hands go to the man's chest. She rips open his shirt. Buttons scatter across the floor. 2 fingers on the sternum. She finds the landmark instantly. The spot between the 4th and 5th ribs, where compressions do the most good. "Move," she says. Walsh looks at her. "What? Move." Her voice is flat, final, no room for argument. Walsh sees something in Sarah's eyes, something that makes her step back without another word. Sarah locks her shoulders, straightens her elbows, begins compressions. Hard, fast, precise, 100 per minute. Her body remembers. Muscle memory older than thought. The rhythm is automatic. She does not count, does not need to. Her hands know. The AED arrives. She does not stop. "Pads," she says. A nurse slaps the adhesive pads onto the man's chest. Sarah keeps compressing. Her arms move like pistons. Steady, relentless. "Analyzing," the machine announces. Sarah pulls back, hands hovering 6 inches above the man's chest, ready to resume the instant the shock is delivered. Shock advised. She presses the button. The man's body jerks. His back arches off the floor. His arms twitch. Sarah checks his pulse. 2 fingers on the carotid. Nothing. She resumes compressions immediately. No hesitation. 30 compressions. 2 breaths from the nurse with the bag valve mask. Another cycle. Her shoulders burn. Sweat beads on her forehead, but her rhythm does not falter. Shock advised. She delivers it. Checks again. Still nothing. Third cycle. Third shock. This time the pulse returns. Faint at first, then stronger. The man gasps. His chest heaves. His eyes flutter open, confused, disoriented, alive. Sarah sits back on her heels. Her hands are steady. No tremor, no shake. Like she just finished filing paperwork instead of bringing someone back from the edge. Walsh is staring at her. "Where the hell did you learn that?" Sarah stands, wipes her palms on her scrubs. CPR certification. She walks away before anyone can ask anything else. Behind her, the ER erupts in whispers. At lunch, Sarah sits in her car. Window cracked, radio off, engine cold. She holds a protein bar, but does not unwrap it. Her hands are shaking now. It happens like this: the calm during, the collapse after. Her body holds it together when it matters, then falls apart when it does not. She closes her eyes. Sand, heat, the taste of dust in her mouth. A Humvee on its side. Smoke pouring from the engine. Someone screaming inside. She is pulling him out. His leg is gone below the knee. Blood everywhere, soaking into the sand, into her gloves, her uniform. Her hands are red. So much red. "Stay with me," she is saying. "Stay with me." He is looking at her, eyes wide, pupils blown, shock setting in. "Doc!" The medic arrives, takes over, bags him, starts an IV, loads him onto the bird. She watches the helicopter disappear into the dust and the heat. 3 hours later, word comes back. He did not make it. Bled out before they reached the field hospital. Sarah opens her eyes. The protein bar is crushed in her hand. She throws it out the window, takes a breath. In for 4. Hold for 4. Out for 4. It does not help. She starts the car, drives back inside. That afternoon, she is restocking suture kits in the supply room when someone knocks on the door frame. She turns. Dr. Walsh stands there holding a cup of coffee. Steam rises from the lid. "Hey," she says. Sarah waits. "That thing this morning." Walsh pauses, takes a sip of coffee. "You were really good." Sarah nods once. "Where did you train?" Walsh asks. Her tone is casual, but her eyes are not. They are sharp, focused. The same look she gets when she is trying to diagnose something that does not add up. "Around." Walsh frowns. "That's not an answer." "It's the one I have." Walsh studies her for a long moment. She sets the coffee cup down on a shelf, crosses her arms. "You know what I saw this morning? I saw someone who has done that before. Not once, not twice, hundreds of times, maybe thousands." She pauses. That kind of muscle memory does not come from a weekend certification course. Sarah turns back to the shelves, picks up a box of sutures, places it on the correct shelf. "You're wasted in supply," Walsh says. "You know that, right?" Sarah does not turn around. "I'm fine where I am." "Are you?" Sarah does not answer. Walsh lingers in the doorway for another few seconds. Then she picks up her coffee and leaves. Sarah exhales slowly. Her hands are not shaking anymore. She goes back to counting sutures, organizing shelves, doing the work no one sees. Later, she passes a group of nurses near the break room. One of them glances at her, whispers something to the others. They all turn to look, then quickly look away when Sarah meets their eyes. Sarah keeps walking. She has heard the whispers before. She will hear them again. It does not matter. She is good at being invisible. She has had years of practice. By the end of the day, the whispers have spread. At the nurses' station, 2 nurses are talking in low voices. They do not notice Sarah approaching. "Did you see what she did?" "I know. It was insane." "Reed said she moved like she'd done it 1,000 times." "Who is she?" "I don't know. But she's definitely not just supply staff. Sarah walks past them. They stop talking mid-sentence. She does not look at them. She has learned not to. She pushes her cart toward the elevators, presses the button for the third floor. The doors close. She leans against the wall, closes her eyes for just a moment. When the doors open, she straightens, pushes the cart out, gets back to work. The next morning, Sarah arrives at 6:45. Same time as always. Same faded scrubs. Same worn badge clipped to her chest pocket. But something has shifted. A nurse nods as she passes. "Morning." Sarah stops, blinks. The nurse smiles and keeps walking. Another nurse, older with gray streaks in her hair, holds the door open for her. "Good work yesterday." Sarah nods, does not know what to say. She continues toward the supply room. Dr. Reed is waiting outside the door. He looks uncomfortable, hands in his pockets, eyes not quite meeting hers. He shifts his weight from foot to foot. "Hey," he says. Sarah unlocks the door. "Hey." He scratches the back of his neck. "I've been thinking about yesterday, about what you did." Sarah pushes the door open, sets her bag down inside, pulls out her clipboard. "I wanted to say I'm sorry," Reed says. She stops, looks at him. "For what?" "For being a dick." He exhales. "I didn't know who you were, but that's not an excuse. You were good at your job, and I treated you like you were nobody." Sarah nods slowly. "You did." He winces. "Yeah, I know." He pauses, looks down at his shoes. "I thought credentials mattered more than skill. I thought the badge and the cert date and the job title were what made someone good at this." He looks back up at her. "I was wrong." Sarah picks up her clipboard. "Apology accepted." Reed looks relieved. The tension in his shoulders eases. "Thanks." He starts to leave, then stops, turns back. "For what it's worth, I learned more from watching you work one day than I did in 2 years of residency." Sarah does not respond. Reed leaves. She stands alone in the supply room, surrounded by boxes and shelves, and the smell of disinfectant. She thinks about the boy with the blue lips, the way his chest rose when she got the tube in. She thinks about the man this morning, the way his pulse came back under her hands. She thinks about all the others, the ones she saved, the ones she did not. She closes the door and goes back to work. At 300p, Walsh finds her again. This time she does not knock, just walks into the supply room and closes the door behind her. "We need to talk," Walsh says. Sarah is counting IV bags. About what you did yesterday. Pediatric intubation in under 30 seconds. High stress scenario. No hesitation. Walsh steps closer. "That's not something you learn in a CPR class, Chen. That's advanced airway management. That's years of training." Sarah does not respond. She marks a number on her clipboard, continues counting. "I pulled your file," Walsh says. Sarah's hand stops moving, just for a second, then continues. "You know what I found? Nothing, just a basic employment record. No previous hospitals, no residency information, no medical school." Walsh pauses. "But you have a current medical license. Illinois, active, no restrictions." Sarah sets down the clipboard, turns to face her, arms crossed. "I want you to tell me where you trained," Walsh says. "I already did. Around." That's not good enough. Sarah holds her gaze. "It's going to have to be." Walsh stares at her. She has been practicing emergency medicine for 20 years. She knows when someone is hiding something. "You're not just supply staff." "Yes, I am." "No, you're not." Walsh takes a step closer. "I don't know what happened to you. I don't know why you're here doing this job when you could be doing so much more. But I know one thing." She pauses. "You are one of the best trauma responders I have ever seen, and I have seen a lot." Sarah does not answer. "And I don't know why you're pretending to be something you're not." Walsh finishes. Sarah holds her gaze. "Are we done?" Walsh exhales, shakes her head. "For now." She opens the door, stops, looks back at her. That kid is alive because of you. You know that, right? Sarah does not answer. Walsh leaves. Sarah stands alone in the supply closet surrounded by boxes and shelves and the smell of disinfectant. She thinks about the boy, about his gray lips turning pink, about the way his chest rose when the air finally got through. She thinks about all the faces she tried to forget. The 18-year-old with shrapnel in his abdomen. The girl pulled from the collapsed building. The convoy driver with the severed femoral artery. All the ones she saved in the sand and the heat and the smoke. And all the ones she could not. She closes the closet door and goes back to work. By evening, the rumors are everywhere. In the cafeteria, at the nurse's station, in the locker room. Whispered conversations that stop when she walks by. I heard she was in the military. Special forces, maybe. Not special forces. Combat medic. Then why is she working in supply? Something happened. People don't just walk away from that. See, maybe she got discharged. Or maybe she's hiding. No one has answers. But everyone is asking questions now. And Sarah knows that once the questions start, they do not stop. That night, she sits in her apartment. Lights off. Window cracked. The city hums outside. Car horns. Sirens in the distance. The endless noise of Chicago at night. She thinks about the man this morning. The one whose heart stopped. The way his pulse came back under her hands. She thinks about the boy yesterday. His small chest rising when the air finally got through. She thinks about all the others. The ones in the sand and the dust and the smoke. The ones she pulled from wreckage. The ones she held while they died. Her phone buzzes. Unknown number. She picks it up. Looks at the screen. A text message. This is SFC Martinez. I was in Fallujah. 2017. You saved my life after the convoy hit an IED en route Irish. Just wanted to say thank you. I never forgot. Sarah stares at the screen. Her thumb hovers over the keyboard. She does not reply. Deletes the message. Sets the phone face down on the table. And sits in the dark. Waiting for tomorrow. Knowing it will be different now. The next day starts like any other. Sarah walks through the employee entrance at 6:47 a.m. The fluorescent lights hum overhead. The smell of disinfectant and coffee fills the air. She heads toward the supply room, clipboard in hand, but the whispers follow her. At the nurse's station, 2 residents stop talking mid-sentence when she passes. In the cafeteria, a group of nurses watch her fill her coffee cup. Their eyes track her movements. When she glances their way, they look down at their phones. She is no longer invisible. Sarah unlocks the supply room, steps inside, closes the door, leans against it for a moment, breathes. The phone in her pocket buzzes. Another unknown number. She pulls it out, reads the message. Captain Chen, this is Corporal Davis. You operated on me in Baghdad. 2016. 3rd-degree burns. You told me I'd make it home to see my daughter born. You were right. She's 6 now. Thank you. Sarah deletes the message without responding. The phone buzzes again. Different number. Doc Chen, Ramadi. You saved my whole squad when our truck hit a daisy chain. I never got to thank you. Delete. Another buzz. Is this Captain Sarah Chen? I heard you're in Chicago now. My brother was in your unit. He didn't make it home, but he talked about you all the time. Said you were the best. Delete. Sarah turns off the phone, puts it in her locker, closes the door, gets to work. By mid-morning, the messages have found another route. The hospital receptionist pages her. Ms. Chen, you have a visitor at the main desk. Sarah does not go. An hour later, another page. Ms. Chen, there's someone here asking for you. Says it's important. Sarah ignores it. At noon, Dr. Walsh finds her in the basement storage area. Sarah is doing inventory on surgical supplies, counting boxes that do not need to be counted, staying away from the main floors. There's a man in the lobby. Walsh says. He's been waiting for 3 hours. Says he knows you. Won't leave until he talks to you. Sarah does not look up from her clipboard. Tell him I'm busy. I did. He said he'd wait. Then let him wait. Walsh steps closer. Chen. What's going on? Nothing. That's not true. Walsh's voice is gentle now, not demanding, concerned. You've been down here all morning. You're avoiding the main floors. And there are people calling the hospital asking for you. By rank. Sarah's hand stops moving. By rank. Yes. Captain Chen. That's what they're saying. Walsh pauses. Is it true? Sarah sets down the clipboard, looks at Walsh. I need to finish this inventory. Sarah. It is the first time Walsh has used her first name. Please, Sarah says quietly. Just let me work. Walsh studies her face, sees something there that makes her nod. Okay. She turns to leave, stops at the door. But that man in the lobby, he's not leaving, and I don't think he's the only one coming. Walsh leaves. Sarah stands alone among the boxes and shelves. Her hands start to shake. She presses them flat against her thighs. Counts. In for 4. Hold for 4. Out for 4. It does not help. She sits down on the concrete floor, back against the wall, closes her eyes. This is what she was afraid of. This exact moment. When the past catches up. When the carefully constructed walls start to crack. She built this quiet life, this invisible existence, for a reason. Because every time someone thanked her, she thought of the ones she could not save. Every time someone called her a hero, she saw the faces of the soldiers who died on her table. Every time someone said she was the best, she remembered the 18-year-old boy who bled out while she held his hand. She left because the weight of it became too much. The names, the faces, the voices that called out for mothers and wives and children in those final moments. She left because she could not save them all, and the ones she could not save haunted her more than the ones she could. The phone in her locker buzzes, again and again, message after message finding her despite the off switch. Sarah does not move. At 200 a.m. she finally goes upstairs. The man is still in the lobby. He is in his 40s, clean-shaven, wearing jeans and a jacket, but his posture gives him away. Back straight, weight evenly distributed, eyes scanning, military, no question. Sarah stops at the hallway entrance, considers turning around. Too late. He sees her. Captain Chen. Every head in the lobby turns. Sarah's jaw tightens. She walks toward him, keeps her voice low. You need to leave. Ma'am, I just wanted to. I'm not ma'am. I'm not captain. You have the wrong person. The man's expression does not change. No, ma'am, I don't. Sarah glances around. The receptionist is watching. 2 visitors are staring. A nurse has stopped mid-step. Outside, Sarah says. They walk through the automatic doors into the afternoon heat. The parking lot is half full. Ambulances idle near the ER entrance. Sarah leads him to the side of the building, away from windows, away from eyes. What do you want? She asks. I wanted to thank you. His voice is steady, certain. Fallujah, 2017. You ran trauma for the 332nd Expeditionary Medical Group. I don't know what you're talking about. You saved my squad leader after an IED tore through our convoy en route Irish. He does not blink. You sutured his femoral artery with a headlamp and hemostats. In the back of a Humvee, while we were still taking fire. Sarah's hands curl into fists at her sides. That wasn't me. You told him he wasn't dying in your truck. The man's voice cracks slightly. His name is Staff Sergeant Dalton. He's got 2 kids now, a boy and a girl. He pauses. He's alive because of you. Sarah looks away, across the parking lot, at the cars and the heat shimmer and the Chicago skyline in the distance. I think you should leave, she says quietly. The man nods slowly. Yes, ma'am. He turns, walks a few steps, stops without looking back. For what it's worth, thank you. Not just from him, from all of us. Then he is gone. Sarah stands there in the heat. Her chest feels tight, her breathing shallow. She presses her palms against the brick wall, feels the rough texture, focuses on that. Something real, something solid. A memory hits, unbidden, unwanted. The Humvee, the screaming, the blood, so much blood. Her hands inside a man's leg, finding the artery, clamping it, suturing while the vehicle rocked from nearby explosions. The headlamp beam shaking, her hands steady. "You're not dying in my truck," she told him, over and over, like a promise, like a prayer. He lived, but 3 others in that convoy did not. Sarah pushes off the wall, walks back inside. The cool air of the hospital hits her like a wall. She heads for the stairs. Not the elevator, the stairs, where she can be alone. Second floor landing, cinder block walls painted institutional white, chipped in places, gray underneath. She sits on the steps, presses her hands to her thighs. They are shaking again. Her phone buzzes in her pocket. She forgot she turned it off. No, she turned it off. But it is buzzing anyway. Phantom vibrations, her mind playing tricks. She pulls it out. It is off. Dead screen. Silent. But she feels it anyway. Message after message. Memory after memory. The names, the faces, the ones who lived, the ones who did not. She cannot breathe. The stairwell is too small, the walls too close. She needs air. She needs space. She needs to be anywhere but here. But there is nowhere to go. The past has found her, and it will not let go. Footsteps echo in the stairwell above her. Someone coming down. Sarah stands, wipes her face. She did not realize she was crying. A young nurse appears, stops when she sees Sarah. "Are you okay?" Sarah nods, does not trust her voice. The nurse hesitates. "Do you need anything?" "No, thank you." The nurse continues down the stairs, glances back once, then disappears through the door. Sarah sits back down, counts her breaths. In, out, in, out. By the time she stands again, her hands have stopped shaking. She goes back to work, but the hospital is different now. The whispers are louder, more urgent. "Did you hear some guy came asking for her by rank?" "What rank?" "Captain. Military captain." "No way. She works in supply." "I'm telling you." He called her Captain Chen. Why would a military captain be working in supply? Maybe she got dishonorably discharged. Or maybe she's hiding from something. Say. Sarah hears fragments of these conversations throughout the afternoon. In hallways, in elevators, in rooms she enters to restock supplies. Everyone has a theory. No one has the truth. By 600 p.m., the questions have reached Dr. Walsh. She finds Sarah in the 3rd floor supply closet, closes the door behind her. "I need you to tell me what's going on," Walsh says. Sarah continues organizing shelves. "Nothing is going on." "That's a lie." Walsh's voice is firm now. "I have people calling the hospital asking for Captain Chen. I have former soldiers showing up in my lobby. I have staff members coming to me with questions I can't answer." She pauses. "So I'm asking you directly. Who are you?" Sarah sets down a box of bandages, turns to face Walsh. "I'm supply staff." "No, you're not." Walsh steps closer. "You're a trauma surgeon. A damn good one. With military experience. Combat experience." She pauses. "And for some reason, you're hiding here, pretending to be something you're not." Sarah does not respond. "I pulled your medical license," Walsh continues. "You're board certified in emergency medicine and trauma surgery. Your credentials are active. No restrictions. No disciplinary actions." She pauses. "So why are you stocking shelves?" Sarah's voice comes out quiet, almost a whisper. "Because I can't do it anymore. Can't do what? Save them. Sarah looks at Walsh, really looks at her. I can't save them anymore. Every time I try, I see the ones I couldn't. Every time I operate, I hear their voices, asking me if they're going to be okay. And I remember lying to them, telling them yes when I knew the answer was no. Walsh's expression softens. How many tours? 3. Where? Fallujah, Baghdad, Ramadi. Walsh is quiet for a moment. How many did you lose? Sarah's hands clench. Too many. And how many did you save? Sarah does not answer. Sarah. Walsh's voice is gentle now. How many did you save? I don't know. Hundreds. Maybe more. Sarah looks away. But I only remember the ones I lost. Walsh nods slowly. That's why good doctors leave. They care too much. Sarah lets out a breath, almost a laugh, but not quite. That's what they told me when I resigned my commission. That I cared too much. That I needed distance. She pauses. So I came here, found the quietest job I could. Somewhere I could disappear. But you can't disappear, Walsh says. Not when you have hands like yours. Not when you have skills that save lives. I don't want to save lives anymore. I don't believe that. Sarah looks at her. Why not? Because you saved that man during the drill. You saved that kid 2 days ago. You didn't have to. You could have walked away, but you didn't. Walsh pauses. Because that's who you are. You save people. It's not something you choose. It's something you are. Sarah shakes her head. You don't understand. Then help me understand. Sarah is quiet for a long moment. When she speaks, her voice is distant, detached. There was a boy, 18 years old, shrapnel in his abdomen. I operated on him in a tent in Kandahar. The power kept cutting out, generators failing. I worked on him for 2 hours in the dark, using a headlamp, while mortars fell outside. She pauses. He died anyway, right there on my table, looking at me, asking me if he was going to see his mom again. Walsh does not respond, just listens. After that, every time I operated, I saw his face, heard his voice, the way he called me Doc, the way he held my hand. Sarah's voice cracks. I couldn't focus, couldn't breathe, couldn't function. So I left. And came here. And came here. Walsh is quiet for a moment. Then she asks, what was his name? Sarah blinks. What, the boy, what was his name? Sarah opens her mouth, closes it. I don't remember. You don't remember. I made myself forget. All the names, all the faces, because if I remembered, I couldn't function. Sarah looks down at her hands. So I forgot. Pushed them all away. Buried them. But they didn't stay buried, Walsh says quietly. No, they didn't. Walsh steps forward, puts a hand on Sarah's shoulder. You can't run from this forever. I know. And you can't keep doing this, hiding, pretending. Walsh pauses. You're too good. And we need you. Sarah looks up. I can't. Yes, you can. Walsh's voice is firm now. You just don't want to face it. The guilt, the grief, the loss. But Sarah, that's part of it. That's what makes you good at this. You care. You remember. You carry it with you. It's too heavy. I know. Walsh squeezes her shoulder. But you don't have to carry it alone. Sarah does not respond. Walsh lets her hand drop. Think about it. That's all I'm asking. Just think about it. She leaves. Sarah stands alone in the supply closet, surrounded by boxes and shelves and the smell of disinfectant. She thinks about the boy in Kandahar, tries to remember his name, tries to see his face clearly, but it is blurred now, lost in the fog of all the others. She thinks about the man this morning, in the parking lot, thanking her, telling her about Staff Sergeant Dalton's kids. She thinks about all the messages on her phone, all the people reaching out, all the lives she touched. And she realizes something. She cannot hide anymore. The past has found her, and it is not letting go. That night, Sarah sits in her car in the parking lot. Engine off, windows up despite the heat. The hospital glows behind her, white and sterile and eternal. She opens the glove compartment. The black leather case is still there. She has not opened it since yesterday. She takes it out, opens it. The bronze star gleams under the dome light. The ribbon is faded, but the metal is still bright, still perfect. She reads the engraving. CPT S. Chen, OIF 2015 to 2019. 4 years, 3 tours, countless lives saved, countless lives lost. She closes the case, but she does not put it back in the glove compartment. Instead, she sets it on the passenger seat, where she can see it. A reminder of who she was, of what she did, of why she left. And maybe somewhere in there, a reminder of who she still is. She starts the car, drives home through the Chicago night. The city lights blur past. The streets are busy with Friday night traffic. People going to dinner, to bars, to movies, living normal lives. Lives where the past stays in the past. But Sarah knows better now. The past never stays buried. It always finds a way back. At home, she sits in the darkness, window open, city noise filtering in. Her phone sits on the table, still off, but she knows when she turns it on, there will be more messages, more names from the past, more voices reaching out. She is not ready for that yet, but maybe tomorrow, or the day after. Sometime soon, she will have to face it. Face them. Face herself. For now, she sits in the dark and remembers. Not the names. Not yet. Those are still too painful. But the moments, the saves, the times when her hands moved and hearts kept beating and lungs kept breathing, the times when it worked, when she was good at what she did, when she made a difference. Those memories are still there, buried under the guilt and the grief, but still there. And maybe, just maybe, that is enough. For now. The call comes at 10:16 p.m. on a Tuesday. Sarah is at home, sitting in the dark, window open. The city breathes outside. Car horns, distant sirens, the endless rhythm of Chicago at nights. Her phone rings. She has turned it back on. Had to. The messages kept coming, the unknown numbers kept trying, and she realized that ignoring them would not make them go away. She looks at the screen. Metro General. Main switchboard. She answers. Chen. Sarah, this is dispatch. We have a mass casualty situation developing. Bridge collapse on I-94. Multiple vehicles in the water. All available personnel being called in. Sarah sits up. I'm logistics. You don't need me for say. Dr. Walsh requested you specifically. Sarah's chest tightens. I'm not a doctor. Ma'am, she was very clear. All hands means all hands. ETA 10 minutes. The line goes dead. Sarah sits there, phone in her hand. Heart pounding, she could not go. Could stay here in the dark. Let them handle it without her. She is supply staff. Not her job. Not anymore. But Walsh requested her specifically. All hands. Sarah stands, grabs her keys, drives. The hospital parking lot is chaos when she arrives. Ambulances lined up, lights flashing, people running. The ER entrance glows like a stage set. Bright, urgent, alive with motion. Sarah parks, walks toward the entrance. Her feet move on autopilot. Muscle memory from years of responding to calls like this. Different places, different circumstances. Same urgency. Inside the ER is transforming. Gurneys roll into position. Trauma bays clear. Someone sprints toward the blood bank. Nurses pull on gowns with practiced efficiency. Residents check equipment with shaking hands. Dr. Walsh stands at the center, coordinating. Her voice cuts through the chaos. Clear, authoritative, calm. We're going to be over capacity. I need every warm body who can hold a suture. She sees Sarah enter, points. Chen, with me. Sarah stops. I'm supply. Walsh strides over, gets close, keeps her voice low but firm. I don't care. We're short-staffed and you just saved 2 lives this week like you've done it 1,000 times before. You're in. I can't. Yes, you can. Walsh's eyes are hard now. No room for argument. We've got 30 people coming in. Maybe more. Half of them are going to die if we don't move fast. I need hands. Yours work. End of discussion. Walsh turns, walks back to the center of the ER, starts assigning positions. Sarah stands there, frozen. A nurse rushes past, bumps her shoulder, keeps going. Sarah looks around, at the organized chaos, the controlled panic, the desperate preparation for what is coming. She has been here before. Different uniforms, different flags. But the same energy, the same race against time. Her feet move, following Walsh. The first ambulance arrives at 10:27. Doors slam open. Paramedics rush in. A woman on a stretcher between them. 40s. Steering column embedded in her chest. Blood soaking through the blankets wrapped around her. She is conscious. Barely. Eyes wide with shock and pain. Trauma 3, someone yells. They wheel her in. Walsh is already there. Gloves on. Face set in concentration. Get me a chest tube kit. Sarah moves without thinking. Grabs the kit from the crash cart. Tears it open. Hands Walsh the scalpel. Walsh makes the incision. Quick. Precise. Sarah anticipates the next step. Hands her the clamp. Then the tube. Walsh does not have to ask. Sarah is already there. Already moving. Already knowing what comes next. The woman's vitals stabilize. Breathing improves. Monitor beeps steadier. Next! Someone shouts from the hallway. Sarah turns. A man. Crushed pelvis. Bleeding heavily. Reed is there. Hands shaking. Face pale. I can't get a line in. I can't. Sarah pushes past him. Move! She does not wait for permission. Finds the vein in his arm. Inserts the catheter. Tapes it down. Hang 2 units. A nurse does it immediately. No questions. Sarah is already moving to the next bed. Teenager. Head trauma. Unconscious. She checks his pupils. Unequal. Brain bleed. Get him to CT. Now! 2 orderlies wheel him out at a run. Another patient. Abdominal bleeding. Sarah packs the wound. Applies pressure. The bleeding slows. Next. Collapsed lung. She reaches for the needle decompression kit. The nurse hands it to her before she asks. Sarah inserts it. The patient gasps. Air rushes. Chest expands. The ER is chaos. Voices shouting, monitors beeping, blood on the floor, the smell of trauma, copper and antiseptic and fear. Sarah moves through it like water. Calm, precise, automatic. She is not in Chicago anymore. She is back there, in the heat and the dust and the urgency, where every second counts, where hesitation kills. Her hands remember. Her body remembers. Even when her mind tries to forget. At 11:02, the sound comes. Low at first. Distant. Then louder. Whump, whump, whump. The deep, rhythmic thud of rotor blades. Heavy. Military. Everyone stops. Sarah is mid-suture on a laceration. Her hands freeze. The needle suspended in air. She knows that sound. She looks toward the window. 3 black helicopters descending toward the helipad. Not medical. Not police. Military. Blackhawks. The ER goes silent. Every conversation stops. Every movement pauses. Everyone watches. Walsh mutters, What the hell? The helicopters land. Dust and wind swirl across the helipad. The rotors slow, but do not stop. Side doors open. A man in uniform steps out, followed by 6 others. They walk toward the hospital entrance, boots striking pavement in unison. Formation, discipline, purpose. Sarah's heart pounds. She knows what this is, why they are here, who they are looking for. The main doors open. The soldiers walk in, full combat fatigues, insignia on their chests, eyes scanning the room. The lead man is a colonel, 50s, silver hair, hard face carved from years of command, eyes that have seen things, made decisions, carried weight. He stops in the center of the ER. His eyes scan, lock onto Sarah. Captain Chen. The room freezes. Every head turns. Every eye finds Sarah. She does not move, cannot move. The suture needle still in her hand, blood on her gloves. The colonel steps forward. His voice is clear, authoritative, used to being obeyed. Captain Sarah Chen, MD, former chief of trauma, forward surgical team, 332nd Expeditionary Medical Group. Walsh stares at Sarah. Her mouth opens slightly. What? The colonel does not look at Walsh. His eyes stay locked on Sarah. Ma'am, we have a situation. We need you. Sarah shakes her head slowly, sets down the needle, strips off her gloves. I'm not. The colonel cuts her off. Explosion at convoy training site, 30 miles north, 17 casualties, 6 critical. He pauses, lets that sink in. Nearest military hospital is 2 hours out. You're the closest trauma surgeon with combat field experience. Sarah's throat tightens. I'm not active duty. We know. The colonel's expression does not change. We're asking anyway. Sarah looks around. Everyone is watching. Reed, Walsh, the nurses, the residents, the patients who are conscious, all of them staring, all of them waiting. I can't, she whispers. Yes, you can. The colonel steps closer, keeps his voice low but firm. Right now, 17 soldiers are bleeding out. 6 of them won't make it another hour without a trauma surgeon. We have field medics doing what they can. But they need you. He pauses. We're wasting time. Sarah closes her eyes, sees faces, dust, blood, Humvees on fire. All the ones she could not save. All the ones who died looking at her, trusting her, believing her when she said they would be okay. She opens her eyes. Get me a field kit. The colonel nods once. Yes, ma'am. One of the soldiers steps forward, tactical medical pack in his hands, larger than the ones in the hospital, designed for field use, for war zones, for places where help is not coming. Sarah strips off her scrub top, underneath a plain black shirt. She takes the pack, slings it over her shoulder. The weight is familiar, comfortable, like putting on an old coat. Walsh grabs her arm. Chen. Sarah looks at her. Who are you? Walsh asks. Sarah does not answer. She pulls her arm free, follows the soldiers toward the exit. Behind her, the ER erupts, whispers, questions, shock. But Sarah does not hear any of it. She is already gone, already back to who she was, who she has always been underneath the disguise. The Black Hawk interior smells like oil and canvas and sweat. Sarah sits on the bench, helmet on, pack at her feet, hands resting on her knees. The rotors accelerate. The helicopter lifts. Through the open door, she sees the hospital shrinking below. The city spreading out in all directions, lights like stars scattered across the darkness. The colonel sits across from her. He has to raise his voice over the rotor noise. Why did you leave? Sarah does not answer. You were one of the best, the colonel continues. 3 tours. Highest survival rate in theater. You could have written your ticket anywhere, any hospital. Any position. He pauses. Why? Sarah looks at him. Really looks at him. She can see the rank insignia, the combat patches, the ribbons on his chest. He has been there, done the things she has done, made the calls she has made. Why do you care? She asks. Because I lost good people. His voice is hard now, and I need to know the person I'm trusting with more of them isn't going to break. Sarah's jaw tightens. I didn't break. Then why are you stocking shelves? Sarah looks away, out the door. The city lights blur below. I stopped being able to save them. The colonel leans forward. What? Every time I tried, I saw the ones I couldn't. Her voice is flat, detached, the way it gets when she talks about this, when she lets the memories out. Couldn't focus, couldn't breathe, couldn't operate without seeing their faces. She pauses. So I left. Silence. The rotors fill the space between them. The helicopter cuts through the night sky. Steady, relentless. Can you do this? The colonel asks. Sarah looks at him, then nods. Let's go. Ahead, smoke rises against the dark sky. Flames flicker in the distance, orange and red against the black. The training site, where simulation became reality, where young soldiers learned that preparation is never enough. Sarah closes her eyes, breathes, counts. In for 4, hold for 4, out for 4. When she opens them, her hands are steady. She is ready. The Black Hawk lands in a field 30 yards from the wreckage. The impact of wheels on dirt jolts through Sarah's spine. Immediate assault on the senses. Smoke fills the air. Thick, black, choking. The smell of burning fuel and metal and something else. Something organic. Burning rubber and flesh. Sarah steps off the ramp. Boots hit dirt. The rotor wash flattens the grass around her, pushes smoke in swirling patterns. Ahead, overturned vehicles. A simulation convoy that became real when something went wrong. Twisted metal, shattered glass. Blood on the ground. Dark pools reflecting firelight. A makeshift triage area has been set up under camouflage netting. Medics move between patients. Flashlights cut through the smoke like searchlights. Voices call out. Urgent, desperate. A young sergeant runs toward them, face streaked with soot, eyes wide. He cannot be more than 22. Younger than some of the soldiers Sarah operated on. Younger than some who did not make it home. Colonel, the sergeant's voice shakes. We've got 6 critical. 3 penetrating chest trauma, 2 crush injuries, 1 possible spinal. The colonel looks at Sarah. Doctor? Sarah is already moving. Show me the worst one first. The sergeant leads her through the smoke. They pass soldiers sitting on the ground, shell-shocked, minor injuries, waiting. One of them looks up as Sarah passes. Recognition flickers in his eyes, but she does not stop. The sergeant stops at a stretcher. Here, a soldier, early 20s, pale, breathing shallow, shrapnel embedded in his chest, blood pooling beneath him, soaking into the canvas stretcher, into the dirt below. Sarah kneels, checks his pulse, weak, rapid, thready. She pulls a flashlight from the pack, examines the wound. The shrapnel is lodged between the 4th and 5th ribs, close to the heart. Too close. Get me light, she says. 2 soldiers hold flashlights over the patient. Their hands shake, the beams waver, but it is enough. Sarah opens the tactical pack, pulls on gloves, tears open a package of gauze, examines the wound more closely. The shrapnel is deep, irregular shape, probably from the vehicle itself. Torn metal driven into flesh by the force of the explosion. I need a chest tube kit and field surgical set. A medic hands them to her. His hands are bloody. He has been doing what he can, but field medics have limits. Training only goes so far. Sarah works fast, makes an incision below the wound, inserts a chest tube. Blood drains immediately. Dark, arterial. The soldier gasps. His oxygen levels improve on the portable monitor, but the shrapnel is still there. I need to extract it, Sarah says. If it shifts, it'll puncture his heart. The colonel is beside her now, watching. Can you do it here? Sarah looks up, meets his eyes. I've done it before. She turns back to the patient, uses forceps, grips the shrapnel. The metal is slick with blood. She adjusts her grip. Hold him steady. 2 soldiers hold the patient's shoulders. Press down. Keep him from moving. Sarah pulls. Slowly. Carefully. The shrapnel resists. Embedded in tissue. In muscle. She adjusts the angle. Pulls again. The metal slides free. Blood wells up. Fast. Too fast. Sarah packs the wound. Applies pressure. Her hands move in patterns burned into muscle memory. Sutures quickly, precisely. The bleeding stops, slows, stops. The soldier's breathing stabilizes. Next, Sarah says. She moves to the next patient. A woman, crushed leg, bone visible through torn flesh. Sarah stabilizes it with a splint, administers morphine. The woman's screaming stops, fades to whimpers. Next, a man. Abdominal bleeding. Sarah packs the wound, prepares him for transport. He needs surgery. Real surgery. In a real hospital, but he will make it there alive now. Next, collapsed lung. Needle decompression. The soldier gasps, coughs, breathes. Sarah works for hours. The field medics assist. They hand her supplies, hold lights, follow her instructions without question, without hesitation. They recognize authority, competence, experience. At one point, a young medic whispers to another, "Who is she?" "Captain Chen," the other replies. "Ran trauma units in Fallujah and Baghdad." He pauses, looks at Sarah with something like awe. She's a legend. Sarah does not hear them. She is focused, hands moving, mind clear. This is who she is. This is what she does. When everything else falls away, when the fear and the doubt and the guilt strip off, this remains. The work, the hands, the saves. At 3:47 a.m., the last patient stabilizes. Sarah sits back on her heels. Her scrubs are soaked in blood. Her hands are red, gloves dark with it. She pulls them off, drops them in a biohazard bag. A medic hands her a bottle of water. She drinks, does not taste it. Just hydration, just fuel. The colonel approaches. "You saved them all, ma'am." Sarah does not respond. She is staring at her hands, at the blood still on them despite the gloves. It never comes off completely. Not really. She has scrubbed her hands raw before, trying to get clean, trying to get the blood out from under her nails, out of the creases in her palms. It never works. 17 patients, the colonel continues. 6 critical, all stable now. He pauses. That's a hell of a night's work. Sarah pulls off the second glove. They need to get to a hospital. Medevac choppers are inbound, 5 minutes out. Sarah nods, stands. Her legs are stiff. She has been kneeling for hours, moving from patient to patient. Her knees ache, her back aches, but her hands are steady. The colonel watches her, studies her. "You didn't break tonight." Sarah looks at him. "Not tonight. Ever think about coming back?" "No." The colonel nods slowly. "Fair enough." He pauses. "But if you ever change your mind, you've got a place. Any unit would take you." Sarah does not answer. She walks toward the edge of the field, away from the lights, away from the noise, away from the patients and the medics and the colonel's questions. She stops at the perimeter, looks up at the sky. The stars are faint, washed out by the smoke, by the light pollution from the flames still burning in the wreckage. She reaches into her pocket, pulls out a small folded photograph, creased, worn, the edges soft from handling. Her old unit, Afghanistan, 2017. 12 faces, smiling, dusty uniforms, Arms around each other, brothers and sisters, family. 8 of them are dead now. Sarah stares at the photo, at the faces she tried to forget, at the smiles she tried to bury. She remembers their names now. All of them. They come flooding back. Jenkins, Rodriguez, Patterson, Kim. All the ones who did not make it home. She folds the photo carefully, puts it back in her pocket. The medevac helicopters arrive. Rotors thundering, dust swirling. The patients are loaded one by one, gently, carefully. They will make it. All 17. Because of her. Sarah watches them go, watches the helicopters disappear into the night sky. Red lights blinking, fading, gone. The colonel walks over, stands beside her, does not speak for a long moment, just stands there, looking at the same sky, the same stars. Finally, he asks, "Why did you really leave?" Sarah is silent. The question hangs in the air. She has been asked it before, by Walsh, by herself, in the dark hours when sleep will not come. "There was a boy," she says finally. Her voice is quiet, almost lost in the wind. 18. Shrapnel in his abdomen. I operated on him in a tent in Kandahar. Power kept cutting out. Generators failing. I worked on him for 2 hours in the dark. She stops. The colonel does not respond. Just waits. "He died anyway," Sarah continues. "Right there on my table. Looking at me, asking me if he was going to be okay. And I kept telling him, yes." Her voice is flat now, empty. "I lied." The colonel watches her. "You saved hundreds of others." "I know, but you only remember the ones you lost." Sarah nods slowly. "Yes." Silence. The wind picks up, carries smoke and ash across the field. "That's why good doctors leave," the colonel says quietly. "They care too much." Sarah does not respond. "We should head back," the colonel says. Sarah nods. They walk toward the Black Hawk. The rotors start. The helicopter lifts. Sarah sits on the bench, closes her eyes. She does not sleep, just sits, hands resting on her knees, mind elsewhere. In Kandahar, in Baghdad, in Fallujah, in all the places she tried to leave behind. But you cannot leave yourself behind. That is the truth she is learning. The past is not a place. It is a part of you. And no matter how far you run, it comes along. On the flight back, the colonel sits beside her. "You did good tonight," he says. Sarah opens her eyes. "I did my job. It's more than that." Sarah looks at him. "Is it?" He nods. "Yes, it is." Sarah turns away, looks out the open door. The city appears below, lights spreading like stars. The hospital comes into view, white and sterile against the darkness. The Black Hawk descends, lands on the helipad. The rotors slow. Sarah unbuckles, stands, grabs her pack. The colonel stands as well. "Thank you, Captain." Sarah looks at him. "I'm not a captain anymore. Tonight you were." She does not respond, just steps off the helicopter, walks across the helipad, through the doors, into the hospital. The ER is quieter now. Most of the bridge collapse patients have been stabilized or transferred. But nurses look up as Sarah walks in, her scrubs still covered in blood. Field blood. Different from hospital blood. Darker, mixed with dirt and smoke. Walsh is at the nurse's station. She sees Sarah, walks over. Her face is unreadable. "Chen." Sarah stops. "Are you okay?" Walsh asks. Sarah nods. "What happened out there?" "I did what they needed me to do." Walsh studies her face, sees something there. Exhaustion. Yes, but something else. Something settled. "You saved them." "Yes." "All of them." "Yes." Walsh exhales slowly. Who are you really? Sarah looks at her, tired, worn. I'm just someone who used to be good at this. She walks past Walsh, down the hall, toward the locker room. Behind her, the whispers start again. But she does not hear them. She is too tired, too empty. She just wants to go home. Part 5, Redemption. 2 days later, Sarah returns to work. She walks through the employee entrance at 6:45 a.m. Same time as always. Same faded scrubs. Same worn badge clipped to her chest pocket. But everything has changed. The whispers stop when she enters the hallway. Heads turn. Eyes follow her. But not with curiosity anymore. With something else. Something that looks like respect. A nurse nods as she passes. Morning, Dr. Chen. Sarah stops. Blinks. The title sounds foreign, like a name she has not heard in years. Morning, she manages. Another nurse older with gray streaks in her hair holds the door open. Good work the other night. Sarah does not know what to say, just nods, keeps walking. In the cafeteria, conversations pause as she enters. A resident stands, offers her his seat. Sarah shakes her head, gets her coffee, leaves quickly. The attention is suffocating. She preferred being invisible. Sarah unlocks the supply room, steps inside, closes the door, leans against it, breathes. This is what she was afraid of. Being seen, being known, being expected to be something she is not sure she can be anymore. A knock on the door. She opens it. Dr. Walsh stands there, not holding coffee this time, just standing, waiting. We need to talk, Walsh says. About your future here. Sarah sets down her bag. I have a job. Not anymore. Walsh steps inside, closes the door behind her. Admin pulled your file. You're board certified in emergency medicine and trauma surgery. Your credentials are still active. No restrictions. That doesn't mean anything. Yes, it does. Walsh crosses her arms. We're short 2 trauma attendings. You have more field experience than anyone in this building. And after what you did the other night with the bridge collapse and then saving 17 soldiers, I'd be an idiot not to offer you a position. Sarah shakes her head. I can't. Why not? Because I left that behind. Walsh's voice is firm now, patient but unyielding. You didn't leave it behind. You got scared. And I understand that. I do. But Sarah, you're one of the best trauma surgeons I've ever seen. And we need you, not in supply. Here, in the ER. Sarah is silent. Think about it, Walsh says. She walks toward the door, stops. The offer stands. When you're ready. She leaves. Sarah stands alone in the supply room, surrounded by boxes and shelves and the familiar smell of disinfectant. She looks at her hands, turns them over, studies the lines in her palms. These hands saved 17 lives 2 nights ago. Saved a boy. Saved a man during a drill. Saved hundreds during 3 tours. Maybe Walsh is right. Maybe she has been running. Maybe it is time to stop. Later that morning, Dr. Reed finds her restocking crash carts on the 2nd floor. Hey, he says. Sarah glances at him. Hey. He scratches the back of his neck. Looks uncomfortable. I wanted to say something. About what you did. The other night. Both nights, actually. Sarah keeps working, organizing supplies, checking expiration dates. I've been thinking about it, Reed continues. And I realized something. I spent 2 years learning protocols and procedures and algorithms, memorizing guidelines, studying for exams. He pauses. But you just know. You don't think. You just move. Like it's instinct. Sarah closes the crash cart, looks at him. That kid with the asthma attack, Reed says. I froze. I couldn't see the cords. I was panicking, and you just walked in and did it like it was nothing. He shakes his head. That's not luck. That's not even skill. That's experience. Real experience. The kind you can't learn from a textbook. What's your point? Sarah asks. My point is, I'm sorry for how I treated you, for assuming I knew better because I had the newer cert and the fancier title. He meets her eyes. I learned more from watching you work 2 nights than I did in 2 years of residency. So thank you. Sarah nods slowly. Apology accepted. Reed smiles. Relieved. Thanks. He starts to leave. Stops. For what it's worth, I hope you take the attending position. We need someone like you here. Someone who actually knows what they're doing. He walks away. Sarah stands there, thinking, the words settling into her, shifting something. That afternoon, Sarah is in the basement storage area when her phone rings. Unknown number. She almost does not answer, but something makes her pick up. Chen. Dr. Chen. This is Marcus Reeves. I was a Navy corpsman, 3 deployments, Iraq and Afghanistan. The voice is young, uncertain. I heard about you, about the program you might be starting, for veterans, transitioning to civilian healthcare. Sarah frowns. What program? The fast-track certification, for former military medical personnel. He pauses. I heard you were setting it up at Metro General. Is that true? I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, the voice deflates. I'm sorry. I must have heard wrong. It's just, I've been trying to find work since I got out. 2 years now, and nobody wants to hire a corpsman without civilian credentials. But the programs are expensive and take forever, and I have a family to feed, and... He stops. Sorry. I shouldn't have bothered you. Wait, Sarah says. Don't hang up. Yeah? Sarah is quiet for a moment, thinking, an idea forming. Give me your number. I'll call you back. She hangs up, stares at her phone. Then she walks upstairs, finds Walsh in her office, knocks on the open door. Walsh looks up. Chen, come in. Sarah enters, closes the door. I'll take the position. Walsh's eyes widen slightly. You will. Yes, but I have conditions. Name them. Sarah sits down, leans forward. I want to start a program for veterans transitioning to civilian healthcare. Fast-track certifications for former medics and corpsmen. They have the skills, the experience. They just need the paperwork and the civilian credentials. Walsh considers this. That's a big ask. I know. It'll take time, funding, admin approval, board oversight. Sarah pauses. But these people saved lives in the worst conditions imaginable. And now they can't get hired because their certifications say military instead of civilian. That's wrong. Walsh is quiet for a long moment. Then she nods. Write me a proposal. Detailed. I'll take it to the board. Sarah extends her hand. Deal. They shake. Welcome back, Dr. Chen, Walsh says. Sarah stands, walks to the door, stops. Thank you for not giving up on me. I didn't do anything, Walsh says. You did this yourself. You just needed a reason to come back. Sarah nods, leaves. That night, she sits at her kitchen table, laptop open, coffee growing cold beside her. She writes the proposal, pages and pages, detailing the program structure, the certification pathways, the training requirements, the success metrics. She writes about the veterans she knew, the medics who saved her life, the corpsmen who worked beside her in the heat and the dust and the chaos, the ones who came home and could not find their place. She writes until 3 a.m., then she sends it to Walsh and sleeps better than she has in years. 3 weeks later, Sarah walks into the ER wearing new scrubs, dark blue, embroidered on the chest, Dr. Sarah Chen, MD. Trauma. The ER is busy. Morning rush. Ambulances arriving. Patients waiting. the familiar, organized chaos. A nurse sees her, smiles. "Morning, Dr. Chen. We've got an MVA incoming. 5 minutes." "Let's prep," Sarah says. The team moves into position. Gurneys ready, supplies checked, everyone focused. Sarah stands at the head of the trauma bay, waiting, ready. The ambulance arrives, doors open, paramedics rush in with a patient. Sarah steps forward, assesses, begins giving orders. Her voice is calm, authoritative. Sure, this is who she is. This is what she does. And for the first time in years, she does not see the faces of the ones she lost. She sees the face of the person in front of her, the one she can save. Right now. Right here. 1 week later, the hospital hosts a meeting in the main conference room. Sarah stands at the head of the table, 20 people watching. Nurses, residents, attendings, admin staff. She clicks to the first slide. "We're implementing new trauma protocols," she says. "Response times will be reduced by 30 seconds. Compressions will follow updated AHA guidelines. 2 full minutes before initial shock. No exceptions." She clicks to the next slide. "We're also launching the Veterans Medical Integration Program. Any former military medics or corpsmen who want to transition to civilian healthcare will have access to fast-track certification here at Metro General. We'll provide the training, the oversight, the pathway to civilian credentials." Murmurs of approval fill the room. "This hospital gave me a second chance," Sarah says quietly. "Now we're going to give others the same opportunity." Applause, genuine, sustained. Sarah nods, steps down. Walsh approaches. "That was good. Thank you. You're going to change things here," Walsh says. Sarah looks at her. "I hope so." 1 month later, the first veteran joins the program. His name is Marcus Reeves, the man who called Sarah a month ago. Former Navy corpsman. 3 deployments, struggling to find work, struggling to find purpose. Sarah meets him in her new office. Small, a desk, a chair, a window overlooking the parking lot. On the desk, a framed photograph, her old unit, Afghanistan, 2017. Beside it, the bronze star in its black case, not hidden, not displayed, just there. A reminder. Marcus sits across from her, nervous, hands clasped. "I heard about the program. I didn't think anyone cared about guys like me." Sarah looks at him. "I care. Why? Because I was you. I left the service and didn't know where I belonged. It took me a long time to figure it out." She pauses. "But you don't have to take that long. We're going to help you get there faster." Marcus nods slowly. "Think I can do this. I know you can." 6 weeks later, Marcus passes his certification exam. Sarah shakes his hand. "Welcome to the team." He grins, wide, genuine. "Thank you, ma'am." "Don't call me ma'am." "Yes, ma'am." She smiles despite herself. That night, Sarah sits in her apartment. Lights off. Window open. The city hums outside. Her phone buzzes. A text. From Colonel Hayes, the man who came to the hospital with the Blackhawks. "Just wanted to say congratulations on the new program. You're doing good work. The kind that matters." Sarah reads it. Types a reply. "Thank you." She sets the phone down, looks out the window. For the first time in years, she feels something close to peace. Not happiness. Not yet. But peace. She closes her eyes. Breathes. Tomorrow, there will be more patients, more emergencies, more lives to save. But tonight, she rests. 6 months later, Sarah stands at the head of a conference table in the new trauma wing. The room smells like fresh paint and new carpet. Sunlight streams through the windows. 20 faces look back at her. Nurses, residents, paramedics. 2 former combat medics who completed the Veteran Integration Program last month. She clicks to the first slide. "Trauma response times are down 32% since we implemented the new protocols," she says. Patient survival rates are up 18%. We're seeing real results. Applause. She clicks to the next slide. The Veterans Medical Integration Program has certified 12 former military medical personnel in the past 6 months. 4 are now working here full-time. 3 have moved on to other hospitals. All of them are saving lives. More applause. Sarah looks around the room, sees faces she recognizes, faces she trusts. This is just the beginning. After the meeting, Walsh pulls her aside. The board wants to make the program permanent, Walsh says. Full funding, dedicated staff. Sarah nods. Good. They also want to put your name on it, the Chen Initiative. Sarah shakes her head. No. Sarah. It's not about me, Sarah says firmly. It's about them. The people we're helping, the veterans who deserve a second chance. Not my name, their future. Walsh sighs. Fine. But you're getting a plaque whether you like it or not. I don't want a plaque. Too bad. Walsh walks away smiling. Sarah shakes her head. Smiles too. 1 year later, the hospital has grown. A new trauma wing, an expanded ER, a dedicated training center for veteran medical personnel. Outside the main entrance, a bronze plaque is mounted on the wall. In honor of Dr. Sarah Chen, for service courage and the refusal to give up. Sarah walks past it every morning on her way in, never stops to read it. Today, she is in Trauma Bay 1, a motorcycle accident. The patient is a man in his 30s, fractured femur, possible internal bleeding. Sarah works quickly, stabilizes the leg, orders a CT scan. The team moves around her like a well-oiled machine. Efficient, coordinated, trusting. A young resident approaches. His name is David, former Army medic, completed the program 3 months ago. Dr. Chen. Sarah looks up from the chart. I just wanted to say, you're the reason I'm here. I didn't think I could do this. Thought I'd left that part of my life behind. He pauses. But you showed me I didn't have to. Sarah nods. You earned it. Not me. Still. Thank you. He walks away. Sarah watches him go. Feels something warm in her chest. Pride, maybe. Or hope. That evening, her phone rings. Unknown number. She answers. Dr. Chen? Sarah, this is Colonel Hayes. We have another situation. Training exercise gone wrong. Real casualties. Multiple trauma. Could use someone with your experience. Sarah looks around her office. The framed photo, the bronze star, the stack of certifications from program graduates on her desk. When, she asks. Now. She stands, grabs her jacket. I'll be there in 30 minutes. She hangs up, walks out of her office, through the ER. A nurse looks up. Dr. Chen, where are you going? Emergency consult. I'll be back in a few hours. She pushes through the doors into the parking lot. The night air is cool. She gets in her car, starts the engine, drives into the darkness. Some things never change. The calls still come. The emergencies still happen. The lives still hang in the balance. But Sarah is ready now. Not running, not hiding, not afraid, just ready. 3 years later, Sarah is older. Gray streaks in her hair, lines around her eyes that were not there before. She stands in front of a lecture hall. 50 medical students, eager faces, notebooks open. Trauma is not about speed, she says. It's about precision. You have to see past the chaos, past the blood, past the fear. She pauses. You have to see the person. A hand goes up. Dr. Chen, how do you stay calm in high-pressure situations? Sarah considers the question. You don't. Not always. But you learn to move through the fear, to use it, to let it sharpen your focus instead of cloud it. Another hand. What's the most important lesson you learned in the field? Sarah is quiet for a moment. That you can't save everyone. She looks around the room. But you can save someone, and that someone matters. The room is silent. Every patient is someone's son, someone's daughter, someone's parent, someone's friend. Her voice is steady, calm. You owe them everything you have, every skill, every ounce of strength, every second of focus. She pauses. That's what it means to be a trauma surgeon. The lecture ends. The students file out. One stays behind. A young woman, mid-20s. Dr. Chen. Sarah looks up. Yes. My brother was in the convoy accident 3 years ago, the one where the helicopters came for you. Sarah goes still. You operated on him. You saved his life. The woman's eyes are wet. He talks about you all the time. He says you refused to give up on him, even when the other medics said it was too late. Sarah swallows. What's his name? Corporal James Mitchell. Sarah remembers the shrapnel in his chest, the bleeding that would not stop, the way his hand gripped hers when she told him he would be okay. How is he? Sarah asks quietly. He's good. He's a firefighter now. Got married last year. The woman smiles through tears. He's alive because of you. Sarah nods. I'm glad. The woman reaches out, hugs her. Sarah hesitates, then hugs back. When the woman leaves, Sarah stands alone in the empty lecture hall. She sits down in one of the chairs, looks at the blank chalkboard, thinks about all the faces, all the names, all the lives, the ones she saved, the ones she lost. She pulls out her phone, opens her photos, scrolls to an old picture, her unit, Afghanistan, 2017. She looks at their faces, smiling, young, alive. She touches the screen gently, then closes the app, stands, walks out of the lecture hall. 5 years later, Sarah sits in her office late at night. The hospital is quiet. Most of the staff has gone home. She opens her desk drawer. Inside the bronze star, the photograph. She takes them out, sets them on the desk, looks at them for a long time. Then she picks up a pen, pulls out a sheet of paper, writes, to those who serve, to those who save, to those who refuse to give up. This is for you. She folds the paper, places it beside the medal. Then she stands, puts on her coat, walks to the window. The city glows below, lights stretching to the horizon. Somewhere out there, someone is dying, and somewhere someone is saving them. Sarah takes a breath, turns off the light, walks out the door. She does not retire, does not slow down. She keeps working, keeps teaching, keeps saving lives, because that is who she is. Not a hero, not a legend, just a doctor who refuses to give up. Years later, long after she is gone, the program continues. Hundreds of veterans trained, thousands of lives saved. Her name is remembered, not on plaques or awards, but in the hands of those she taught, in the patients who lived because someone like her was there, in the quiet moments when a young doctor, exhausted and afraid, remembers her words. You cannot save everyone, but you can save someone, and that someone matters. That is her legacy, not glory, not recognition, just lives saved, one at a time. And in the end, that is enough. The story does not end with applause. It ends with a monitor beeping steadily, with a chest rising and falling, with a pulse that returns. It ends with someone who was dying, now living, because someone refused to give up. That is the story. That is the truth. And it happens every day. In hospitals, in war zones, in quiet moments no one sees. It happens because of people like Sarah Chen. People who do not quit. People who see the person, not the wound. People who understand that every life matters, even when no one is watching, especially then. This story is for them, the ones who serve in silence, the ones who save without recognition, the ones who refuse to give up, even when it is hard, even when it hurts, Even when no one knows their name, they are the real heroes. And their work continues every single day. If this story moved you, if it reminded you of someone who never gave up on you, share it. Someone needs to hear it today. Who is your invisible hero? The person who saved you when no one else was watching. Drop their story in the comments below. Let's honor the people who refuse to give up. Subscribe for more true stories of courage and redemption. Like if you believe in second chances. And remember, you never know who might be hiding extraordinary courage behind an ordinary face. The invisible ones are all around us, working quietly, saving lives, refusing to quit. Maybe it is time we saw them.